time you always wait for when it's Friday with a man that I call small body, big engine, the mayor of Katkin City, our owner, Sam Orija. Someone asked me, is that guy a Yoruba guy?
Godwin, that question, it helped me a lot in university stages. You know, a lot of people, I schooled in Obafemi Awolowo University. It was 2007 to 2011. And people thought I was not Yoruba. So they will start speaking Yoruba, trying to think that I don't understand what they are saying.
And you will form like...
I form like, they say I'm either the Edo, Delta. I say, no problem, I'm in Nigeria.
I thought Delta, that was my
thinking. A lot of people say Delta, a lot of people say Edo. Any of them is fine with me.
At least your investment comes across.
It comes across. You know, I'm a mayor of Kashgate City.
You know what I'm saying? I once had this studio, Innocent Idibia, the one you call Two Baba.
Yeah.
Used to be Two-Faced. If you call him Two-Faced, now he will sue you. It's not Two Baba. And I said to him, what club do you support? He said, I support Chelsea. I support Man U. I support Arsenal. He said, make them buy music.
That's what I said.
You know, but that's what it is. It's good to have you. The privilege of being here. I want to commend you for what you do. These monies could have been channeled into doing something different that will give you instantaneous profit. Yeah. But now it's long term, educating people, bringing in those who have walked their talk.
Yeah.
You know, people just talk, they don't walk it. You walk in your talk, and that's why we have our special guests. You have to do that because you brought us together.
Yeah, Godwin, it's always a pleasure. Like I say to you and to everybody that cares to listen all over the world, I don't take your association for granted. You are someone that we have been listening to over 20, 30 years. Even being on your show is a privilege. So thank you so much, Godwin. And I have the honor. This is the first time. I don't know how we have not even had an event together. Wow. Right? But I promise that this is going to be first of many. And it's a huge pleasure, huge privilege. This is a man that I've watched grow from when I was small. Like I watched him start a business become a multi-billion naira business, multi-million-dollar business. Went to Canada, opened another business, came back to Nigeria, opened a microfinance bank again. I mean, these are people that have results to earn any insult. So it's my privilege and honor to have in the same studio, live on 90.9 FM, Dr. Olorunsheyi Sunday, co-founder, Pertinence Group, CEO, Global Pro, and several other business. Welcome to the studio, sir.
All right. Thank you, Sam. It's my pleasure to be here. And meeting Godwin, too, I count it a great privilege. Wow. Sitting together with both of you.
Mine is not a privilege. Mine is answer to prayer.
Oh, my God.
That's it. But that's a discussion for when we are done. Because the Spirit said I should hold on.
Yeah.
You know, I have to listen.
Yeah, your Spirit.
I have to listen to that Spirit again. And if I don't listen to it, I'm always injured. So I need to listen to that Spirit. So, Sam.
Yes, Godwin.
The program is called the Investors Corner Radio Edition with Dr. Olorunsheyi Sunday in our studio. And the CV, now you get for free. So you know what we are saying. So I leave it to you.
We started this Investors Corner series a few weeks ago, and we've brought in high-quality guests. All the speakers are high-quality speakers. Dr. Lumide Emmanuel, our patron, opened the floor. We had Dotun Oloyede, CEO of Rollard Properties. Last week we had 2 weeks ago we had Tade Cash, CEO of Whip Africa. Today, and coincidentally next week we have his partner also, Mr. Wisdom Ezekiel, live on this station. We're talking about the Nigerian real estate sector. I'm someone that believes that everywhere you go in the world, any economy, real estate must be thriving for the country to thrive. You cannot, as Nigerians, we say that Nigeria is the most powerful black nation. We are a big country. But how many mega cities do we have? You cannot be a mega country with only one mega city. And even that one mega city has problems.
We don't have a mega city.
So let's just say that they have.
We are saying that we want to have a mega city.
So the Nigerian real estate sector, sir, I want us to divide this through into three. Challenges of the Nigerian real estate sector, the solutions, the opportunities. We have 10 minutes to talk about the challenges. The challenges are plenty. 10 minutes is not enough. if you use the entire show, we don't go talk about this. But there are several stakeholders in this sector. We have the government. We have the developers like yourself. We have investors who are listening. And maybe realtors. Let's just leave realtors alone. Those three guys, they have several challenges facing them as regards investors, as regards buying real estate, government as regards providing the necessary facilities to support real estate, and developers also have problems, majority of them financing.
Yeah.
What can you say about these challenges as regards all these people that I've talked about?
All right, thank you, Sam. I'd like to take it from where you stopped.
Okay.
We can't discuss real estate challenges without looking at the stakeholders. Very important, because at the end of the day, it's all about how these challenges impact on different stakeholders. I must acknowledge the guests that we have hosted before me. When you mentioned them, I know their profile. And I know they must have discussed some very interesting things. And just like you said, stakeholders. Do you know the major stakeholders I like to address are the policymakers? Because everything rises and falls on the policies that are being made. At the end of the day, every step everyone would take in the real estate building journey has to align with the kind of policies that we have on ground. So that's a major stakeholder that we cannot ignore. What are the basic policies that the government is making to guide the way we do real estate? If you move away from that, of course, you have the judiciary too, because one of the major challenges we have in real estate has to do with litigations here and there. I see people come and say, oh, I want to buy a property, and the major box they want to check is having CFO.
Exactly.
Having
I actually
CFO.
thought CFO was everything.
Oh my God, people just assume that that is the almighty document that you need to have peace of mind. But being in this industry for a while, we have a number of litigations on properties that was acquired even with CFO on them. We've seen cases where the Supreme Court overturned the ownership of properties that had CFO and handed it over to a new owner entirely. So we can't downplay the role of the judiciary. Then we want to talk about the financial actors. In this part of the world, that's a major area of challenge. We're going to address that fully when we start talking about these challenges. Now, I don't love to be in the room where we only talk about challenges. I'm happy that you are giving us time to discuss the opportunities
solutions.
and the solutions, because if you gather people in a room to speak to challenges that Nigeria have today, everybody has something to say. Everybody has something to say. But when it's time to discuss solution, that's when you realize that talk is cheap. Even though in the real sense, talk isn't cheap, right? But to discuss challenges, it's easy. It's easy. So if we go back to these stakeholders we are talking about, the financial actors, this could be the banks, the mortgage, it could be the mortgage or the commercial banks, investors that come into this real estate arena. They are actors in the real estate industry. Whatever we are discussing, we must speak to them also, feel their pain. Then we can now go to the major ones, which we know, the property developers, the contractors, the professionals, the realtors, the brokers, and eventually the homeowners themselves. These are all stakeholders. But sincerely, in my own deep search, trying to understand how we can progress in the Nigeria real estate sector, I found two critical challenges that until we solve these two, we aren't going nowhere in the real estate sector in Nigeria. The first one is our weak banking institutions.
Absolutely.
Now, I'll speak to this from a global perspective.
Yes, please.
And having a privilege to have traveled to all the continents in the world and different countries in the continent. Practically, I've seen how these countries take real estate seriously. And they do that by strengthening their financial institution. I salute the courage of the president of Nigeria that is trying to build a $1 trillion economy. That's just the beginning. We're just starting. We still have a very long way to go. But speaking to this, you realize that most of the developed climes where you have major infrastructural development and you have real estate as a prime mover of the economy, you will realize that the banking institution, they play major roles. For example, I have a house in Canada today. Announcing that I have a house is a big deal to most people here, right? But it's not a big deal because I didn't need more than 5% down payment to own that property.
And to move in.
All I needed to do was to approach the bank with that 5%, and the bank pays the property developer or the mortgage brokers and like that. And in less than 30 days, I'm closing the property.
But you must be liquid to do that. They don't just give it to anybody.
Correct. But, you know, we want a system where an average working person should be able to put that 5% together to be able to assess. There are countries where you even do 3%. My younger brother in the United States had to put down 3% to buy his first home. But if we don't have financial institutions that are strong, it will be difficult to shoulder this burden. I was checking the budget of one of the banks in one of those countries I don't want to mention. And I realized that what they have captured in their budget, one bank in that country, it's more than that of the Nigeria as a whole. That's to let you know the gap when it comes to how strong our financial institutions are. I tell people in these places where we live and have properties and meet with people, that guy, this property actually belongs to the bank until you are done paying. So what they do is passing this paper from one point to another, and that there is something I'm going to address with that. When talking about the challenges, the ease of moving ownership of property. But our financial institutions, they are weak. We need stronger banks to get this happen, okay?
Now, to the listener, remember this is the investment, you can call it the police now.
Investment policy.
Yes, right now, specially made for you, tailored, yes, towards addressing a lot of issues. What is the role of the mortgage bank in all? You talk about financial sector, the mortgage bank.
Yeah.
I tried to get a property many years ago, going through the mortgage bank. It didn't work at all. So when you say financial, in Canada, in America, do they go through the mortgage banks or the regular banks?
They go through all the banks. The commercial, or what you call the regular banks, the mortgage banks, even the lower, like the tier 2, tier 3 banks. Yeah, even private lenders fund mortgages. It's just that you will be paying at higher interest.
Yeah.
That's just it. Private lenders fund mortgages. And it's simply because there is this national orientation. Because when we start talking about the solution, those I'm already addressing some of it, about the importance of real estate. An average Canadian sees real estate as their primary investment. Even a working class person that earns, say, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, if you check what is taking about 30 to 40, 50% of their earning, it's either their mortgage or renting, housing, to put it simple. So everyone has this consciousness of the importance of real estate. Does it mean we don't have that consciousness yet? We do have it. But we are yet to strengthen this institution. So there are people that have money in this country, but they are not backing up real estate the way they should do. I must also acknowledge the fact that the government, present administration is moving from one country to another to build positive image and attract investors to come in. That is a step in the right direction, because whether you like it or not, the underdeveloped economies, most of the people that have money there, they are moving their monies to these same developed economies, making them more robust to support their own people. Let's not flog that too much. Let's move to the second one. Very important.
Sir, before you go to the second one, let's go on this commercial break.
All right.
When we come back, more to follow.
That's the sound of the police. Whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the beast. Whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the police.
hot in the studio. Dr. Sunday, let's continue. Number 2.
All right, so much to talk about. Now, this is very important. We have poor credit system in this country. Now, we talked about how easily people access funding for mortgage in some of these developed economies. But we need to address what are the factors that makes this possible. They have credit scoring systems. I saw that our government, part of the promises they made is that we want to make it easy for people to own homes. And I started asking myself, how are we going to make this happen when an average Nigerian on the street does not even know that a credit bureau does exist? It's not like we don't have credit bureau, but they are not getting enough visibility.
What's the role of a credit bureau?
Thank you very much. Now, by right, everyone living in any country should have an identity. So it starts with identity management. So in Nigeria today, you have NIN, you have BVN, just like you have Social Security in America, and you have the SIN, Social Insurance Number, in Canada. Those BVN or NIN should represent that. Now, with that identity that you have, it's easy for the government or institutions to tell a story about you, who you are, where you live. If you have anything to do within the financial sector, it can easily be tracked and it's transparent. Any serious government will make that happen. Because once there is transparency, there will be advancement. But where there is no transparency, you can't even tell the criteria with which you will decide who to give loan or not. So what those credit bureau does is to be able to present to institutions that need to know about the status of anybody they want to do business with, that this is exactly the position of this
at
person.
the punch of a button.
At the punch of a button. At the punch of
They
a
don't
button.
need to ask you questions.
They don't need to
Everything
ask
they
you
need is
questions. Just fill your form, put those details, and at the punch of a button, they can tell. They can speak to your credit behavior. They can speak to your earning pattern. All of this. And with the advent of technology, it has become so easy. AI monitors all of these things. And just like you said, at the punch of a button, it shows this. And right there, it tells you if you qualify for a credit or not. And if you do qualify, it tells you how much you qualify for.
And Nigerians don't know about this.
They don't
Most
know. It's
Nigerians.
not like it doesn't exist. It exists, but that institution needs to be strengthened. It needs to become very visible. But that will only happen if an average Nigerian knows that if I have a good credit rating, these are the benefits that comes with it. You see how much people make jest on social media about owing and not paying back. And you'll be wondering what kind of system are we? You get what I'm saying? So it's important that we begin to adapt such system that makes it easy to find people accountable. In most cases, banks will even pre-approve you for these credits. For you want to buy a house, the bank can pre-approve you. So you already know how much you have with which you can approach a developer or a mortgage broker that you want to buy a property. And if you want to buy a property that is maybe 200 million naira, and you only pre-approve for 100 million naira, it means you have to find other means to raise that 100 million naira, or you buy a property 100 million naira and below. Let's move to the third one, and as we begin to move away from the challenges. And this one aches my heart so much. And that is the ease of passing title. In the first place, even registering it.
What title are you passing?
Oh my God. Property
titles.
titles.
Okay then.
Documents that we talked about. Of course, there are different documents when it comes to ownership of real estate. But the most popular one people look out for is maybe the CFO or a governor's consent. You bought a property from Sam, and you need to let the governor know that you bought this property from Sam, and the governor is supposed to consent to that transaction, so that henceforth, Sam has ceded his right to that property to you. Now, let me tell you that Nigeria is losing so much and the economy is dying because of lack of ease in that process. I met a man some times ago. Unfortunately, he eventually died. It's so painful. He was sick and was at the point of death. And this man had like 3 properties, as in good locations. Now, he already told his son earlier that he would not want them to sell those properties. But at the point, they felt this man shouldn't die having
have
all of
properties,
these properties. So they needed to at least access a loan. If we can get a loan and keep him alive, at least when he's back, he will know that we didn't sell the property. We only used it to access loan to keep him alive. Do you know that because all of these properties do not have title, they could not get loan, and this man died, having assets worth tens of millions, but could not access loan to keep him alive. The earlier our government realized what we are missing by not making getting property document easily, what we are missing is big. And I'll just give a simple analogy. If you buy a house in the United States today, and maybe after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you want to sell the house, you don't necessarily need to get somebody that will buy the house directly. You can walk up to your bank and say you want to refinance that property. So the same property that you own, all the bank is doing is selling it to another bank. So it's paper that they are passing from one bank to another. And once it's either they are buying or the person buying from you is bringing his own banker. And once they pass that property, they have transferred you also to a new owner. The bank gets its money. You get part of the money. It's more like you are buying that property again. Whatever you are taking out is part of your equity that you have built over the time, because you are paying over maybe 20, 25 years. And after 5 years, this property is $500,000. But you have accumulated $100,000 through your monthly mortgage payment. You can access like $80,000. And that property, mind you, the value has even grown to maybe $600,000 from the $500,000 that you bought it. And you still own that property. It's more like you are buying afresh. Imagine if we have that kind of system here. People want to go into businesses. They have property, no title, so they can't access loan. And they are dying in silence.
I've been a victim.
Case closed.
I carried my CFO to Sterling Bank. I wanted to build, big something, bigger than me. But my wife was against it. That don't take 5 naira. Let's not struggle. Let's leave it. When we are ready, when we can. Thank God. I didn't listen to her, but thank God the bank didn't. It was at the stage of, I carried, I printed the CFO like this, carried all those documentation. And then I said, the building approval.
Because they needed to check that building, the government will not come and demolish it tomorrow. That's
okay.
Yeah, that's the reason.
That was studied.
So the bank is trying to manage its own risk. But imagine if it was easy to get the approval. Now, we don't want to pass the buck to the government alone, right? But they are a major factor in making this.
Sam, sorry, this just crossed my mind. You talked about 25 years, facilities given to you. But I can't remember one bank in Nigeria that will give you a loan that will not ask you to pay within 1 year plus, max 1 year.
You too, you don't want to pay for 26%
Anyway.
interest.
No,
For 25 years.
he said 25.
No, I'm saying that the interest rate alone will not allow you to want to pay for 25 years.
Okay, the interesting thing is that I will not make free advert for any bank, but there are few banks that does that. Maybe 10, 15 years. Mortgage works in this country, but the percentage
That's the problem.
is insignificant.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. Of course, we have the Federal Mortgage Bank. They are playing their role somehow.
They didn't help me. I knew how much
know.
I went. I went to Mortgage Bank at Marina. We were trapped in the lift.
Oh my God.
My pastor and I. And I knew they have faith more than my pastor.
Because when he started praying,
He was banging on the door.
oh my God.
Me, I was looking transfigured. Not that I was manly enough. I was confused. I was like, so this is the beginning. So we're beginning to sweat. No ventilation. Kept banging and banging. At Marina Kutangura house. That's where the mortgage. We went for a mortgage. They gave us small cards.
Yeah.
Feed everything. came back, they dragged and dragged and dragged.
You seem to
Those
have
small
so much
cars.
experience.
The cars are seen somewhere many years ago. So are you saying that if you want to build, if you want to buy, you can approach the same mortgage bank today? Has anything changed in the same
The
mortgage
problem is the first where we started from funding, that these banks are not properly funded.
Aha.
So that is the challenge. And maybe that will move us to the next thing, which is the trust gap. Yeah, that has been breached. So even the investors locally, let's even leave the international investors out of it. The money that is resident in this economy, it's enough to make Nigeria great without having to borrow out there.
So, during the COVID period, we did a research and analysis. The amount of money that Nigerians lost due to volatile investments, not real estate, volatile, that's all those crypto and forex and co. In that period, that year of COVID, was over $200 million. Just
And
that.
these are the smaller guys.
That's the
those
smaller,
playing at the
lower level.
level.
I'm not talking about the ones.
Not a big one.
You know, so the competition of real estate fund is not even just it's all this other volatile and also jackpot. Many people are like that, and the trust gap that you mentioned. We'll go on a short break. It's getting hot. When we come back, we'll provide solutions to you.
All right.
My name is Olorunsheyi. I founded on a platform of unrealistic.ng in August 17 last year, and my investment was about to run to end of this month. But in the magnanimity of the management of unrealistic.ng, they brought it forward, and today I got my alert live and direct, and this is the certificate. So unrealistic.ng is airborne up. Join us and enjoy the money together. Cheers! My name is Olorunsheyi. I founded on a platform of unrealistic.ng in August 17 last year, and my investment was about to run to end of this month. But in the magnanimity of the management of unrealistic.ng, they brought it forward, and today I got my alert live and direct, and this is the certificate. So unrealistic.ng is airborne up. Join us and enjoy the money together. Cheers! My name is
So let's try and prefer some solutions. Hopefully, the
Because
people.
Nigerians know the challenges of Nigeria.
Yeah.
Nigerians know the problems of Nigeria, but ask them for the solution.
So we are Nigerians.
Abeg
Yeah.
Orosa.
We'll try. We'll try. So we
But
have.
now, at least, I like that we have talked about the many challenges.
Yeah.
Now, let's just oppose that with the plenty of solutions. And thank God
So
we have a doctor in this.
Dr. Sunday, I want you to offer solution advices to the policymakers, like in the government, offer solution advices to developers, and offer solution advices to even the investors listening out there, because I'm still going to talk about investors too. Yeah. So you have the floor, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. You see, a problem you don't understand, you can't perfectly solve. So we must always go back to the basis. And the basis is identity management. Now, if we are not working towards having accurate data about our people, about everything that ties around the real estate sector in Nigeria, we will never solve the problem we're having. I was in the room that was the year of COVID, thereabout, and it was a stakeholders meeting. We were less than 20 in that room. The then Minister for Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, was there. The MD of the Federal Mortgage Bank, the this woman that heads the budget, whatever.
Okonjo-Iweala?
No, she wasn't in government. Just recently.
Okay.
No, not recently, about 2-3 years ago.
Okay.
Just the major stakeholders that has things to do with real estate. And I remember that day, the minister came up and was saying that in Nigeria, for example, they say the housing deficit is 17 million as at then, right? And he was trying to argue that where did they get this data from? More like trying to prove to us that he is not saying it's less or it's more, but it's always important to come out when you are putting statistics out, show us, back it up with how did you come about this. So if the minister couldn't tell us accurately what data they have that will help them plan for the people of Nigeria, then who will have that data? So it starts with that. If we don't have clear information about how many people live in a village, in the city, in a state, and by extension, the country, how are we going to provide for them? Because the next thing I'll be talking about is planning. But you can't plan without accurate data. So the first thing is, whatever role we all can play in supporting to provide adequate data to the government. Of course, I always do not like shifting blames to the government alone. And this is where I challenge young minds that are enterprising, innovative, creative, to begin to come up with products that can help the government capture this data easily and transparently. So rather than blaming the government, that is an opportunity for you and I to go into the thinking room to say, okay, how can we help? What product can we roll out there that will make data management easy for the government and transparent, such that when we are releasing any statistics to say we have 25 million people in Lagos, we know that actually it's 25 million. If anybody comes into Lagos today, how do we know that a new person has landed in Lagos? We don't have that. So it's all assumptions.
We have those three masquerades.
The three masquerades that ask them. So that's number one. Now, moving away from data, we come to city planning. Now, if you are in the real estate space, you know what happened in Ekpe, and about a week or two ago, the government went there and started demolishing, the Lagos State government, through the NTDA, started demolishing properties of real estate developers. Are we going to blame the government totally? No. But also, they have their own part of the blame. Imagine if everybody knows what the master plan of the city of Lagos is. That is not just a document that is sitting in Alausa, but it's a document that is being shared. That even if you come into Lagos today, we have made it very easy for you to know the plans of the government for every area you are going into. Even the investor that wants to buy. If the investor notices that what you are doing, in a particular location as a developer does not align with what the government has shared, the investor will not patronize you. But the investors don't even know, because this information, they are not readily available. It took us going to NTDA when we wanted to regularize our title. We didn't even go there. We went to another ministry that assisted when we were doing the registered survey. We did it with lands, so the Surveyor General's office. So when we wanted to perfect C of O for the land, and we went back to the government, that was when they told us that they have replanned the whole of Ekpe. So you have to go to NTDA. So we went there and started the process with them, and they told us, this is the plan, this is what we are planning to do. And before we knew it, before he said Jack, they were there demolishing houses, millions. I don't want to say how much millions was lost to that. So city planning, it's another major one that we need to look into.
Education.
Yeah, that comes from
educating
education.
everybody,
Yeah, earlier I talked about national orientation.
Yeah.
That gets people interested in this conversation. Because by the time we start seeing real estate as not just for settlement or for bragging rights that, you know, the average person in Nigeria, once you start building a house, how do people see you? You are Odogu now. For you, especially in this economy. If you have money to build a house, you are Odogu. So that's the perception people have about real estate.
Okay. Well, time check. We have less than 20 minutes to go, Sam Orija. And if you're just joining us, it is the investment police right here. And a segment has been created, the Investors Corner Radio Edition, by the mayor himself, Sam Orija. Our privilege right now, if you're listening to us, we have Dr. Olorunsheyi, yes, Sunday in the studio with us. He's been talking like a radio person. Someone who's been,
I'm learning from the best.
because he's got so much information. When you have so much information, then you'll be thrilling the audience. So, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, he hit the nail on the head. Nigeria has been a country that we, like I've said on this station before, I've said it several times, planning, execution without a plan, a nightmare. Planning without execution is a dream. So that's what has been happening in this country in terms of everything, not just real estate. Our healthcare, security, we just go there and just try to be reacting. We are not proactive. Right, so, and that's what he has said about the solutions. We need visionary leaders.
Yeah.
Because look at the plan he mentioned about the city plan. It's not like there was no city plan. They changed the plan.
You see, fine. You just wake
It was
up.
changed.
You wake up, you see houses marked.
Yeah.
Possession taken possession. When you now check, they'll say the original owners of the land that they sold 50 years ago,
50 years ago.
have come back.
Correct.
Doctor, how do we deal with instances?
This is a major challenge, and that has led to so many litigations.
Yeah.
I give a practical example. As a real estate person, we have diversed into different parts of real estate. So we went into hospitality. We acquired a property, built an hotel, massive. We're even planning to launch it some 3 months from now. And just this week, we saw someone just came to mark possession taken by court order. And you're like, where is this coming from? Proper title, everything in order. And that's part of the challenges we're talking about. You just mentioned this. And to solve this problem, just like I said at the beginning, what are the policies that the government has made when it comes to acquiring land? Why these things don't happen in some countries? Because everyone understands the rule of the game and everyone is playing by the rules. So you have less litigation. But because there are no clear policies, for example, of course, there is Land Use Act that says the land belongs to the government. At the same time, the government recognizes the indigenous owners of the land.
Yeah.
Now, when there is no proper mapping of who the indigenous owners of the land is, there will be a problem. 4 or 5 families are claiming that they are the indigenous owners of the land. And so you buy from one family, and the next family shows up tomorrow. Because as at when you were buying from that family, you went to the government, and the government attested that, okay, these are the people that have been signing a document for this particular place. As a result, they said you are fine. And that was what happened in our own case, now the case I'm talking about. At least we got acknowledgement from the government about the people that has the right to sign for that property. But now, another set of people are coming with court judgment. So what precedents do we have on ground at the judiciary that makes them say, okay, these people are now the rightful owner of the land? So all of this boils down to what the policies the government has made and how well we are able to ensure that the people that are custodians of these policies do justice the way it should be. We have to be sincere with ourselves. Part of the challenge we have is corruption. We have bad actors in government. And because of these bad apples, there might not be too many, there might be many, but we must accept that we have them. These bad apples, at times, and they can be influential people too. And because they are influential, they use that position to amass wealth through corruption. And you see when someone is wrong and they make the person right, and the person that is right becomes wrong suddenly. So it's now more like a real estate game where if you don't have the right people on your side, you might even lose out at the end of the day. And the trust gap we were talking about earlier, that's part of the reason. So we are open because that can only be solved by the government, to be sincere.
I was going to ask you,
That-
how do we solve it?
That can only be solved by, because at the end of the day, whether the judiciary, the legislators, the executive, they are arms of the government and they have the final say. That's why they say after God, now who? Now government.
After government,
It-
God.
You understand what I'm
Those are
saying?
the TGs. Okay, Godwin too.
And we are God.
Let's talk quickly, because of our time,
Okay.
the Land Use Act. What does it mean? You have a property, nobody is there.
Okay?
Nobody will come and put anything there. But once people are staying there, they'll come. The Land Use Act. The road to that place is not motorable.
Thank you for raising that. You know, we keep in real estate. When we real estate people want to talk about the problem in real estate and the opportunity, we announce that we have 20 million housing deficit in Nigeria. We don't talk about infrastructural deficit.
Yes.
Infrastructural deficit is even
More.
worse. It's more. Because the housing deficit you are trying to solve for, if there are no infrastructure, you will never solve that
How
problem.
do you get there?
We're talking about urbanization today. Part of the...
I like when we break it down.
Okay.
Because the pepper seller might be listening to you.
Okay.
Infrastructural deficit, what does that mean?
Godwin,
Okay.
Godwin, sorry, sir. The reason why Lagos is choked is because we feel like we have infrastructure in Lagos.
What is infrastructure?
The roads,
Road,
hospitals,
drainages,
drainage,
That's what I wanted
all
to
those
say.
things. Those are the real estate multipliers.
No, that's why I said the market one is listening. When we
Yeah,
say
I like that.
infrastructural,
Make
Be-
it breaking
because,
it down.
because why should I go and buy a land in so village? What is there?
I went somewhere yesterday looking for a house for somebody. Somewhere and Makogi. There's no road to that.
That's after Magboro, there about, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, yes.
I said there's no. My driver was the one who said before we got to the place, we have to go back home.
You're right.
We can't.
Now, we have
But,
a 500-acre project in that same location. Interestingly, I went to inspect the place after over 1 year.
Yeah.
And sincerely, it was looking worse than when I went last year. So I told myself, it's not time to move in here.
Yes.
Over 500 acres with CFO sitting.
Yes.
But because of lack of road, drainages, access to that
The
place.
road I'm talking about is 5 minutes from the road. The
Yeah,
major
you're
road.
right.
Now, there's a place that is 30 minutes. Far off. But this one that is 5 minutes off the road is better than that one that is 30 minutes. But that one has better road. This one does not. So it's not. I said it's not raining season. Imagine when it's raining.
What will happen?
That means nobody can pass through.
Yeah.
Then a few meters away, I saw people with barricades collecting money from people on that road.
So solution. I think the government should open up to public-private partnership. That will make it easy. Of course, even though it's the core responsibility of the government to create infrastructure, why it enables people to come and develop. We don't have to do it all by ourselves. Make it easy for people to come in and partner with the government. And corruption is always the factor that limits PPP. We didn't forget your question about Land Use Act. It's as simple as saying every land belongs to the government. Before now, that wasn't the case. I think it was 1974 or 79 thereabout. 79 thereabout that the Land Use Act was enacted. Before that time, not all lands belong to the government. But right now, it means even though it's you have indigenous people and they recognize them. As far as that act is concerned, every land must be titled through the government, must be routed through the government. That's why even when you buy, you have CFO, so a governor must consent. Everything that happens goes back to the table of the government. And that has been abused too, because right now, we have too many agencies of government, especially in this Lagos state we are right now, and it's frustrating. I tell you, if you want to build a house and have perfect approval and title in Lagos today, you will relate with not less than 10 different agencies. Not less. I'm not trying to exaggerate here. And that's a lot of headache, multiple taxation here and there. So if we can streamline these things and make it very easy, I think it will open up. And that's part of the solution. Makes it easier for more people, make it more attractive. Now, I want to praise those in diaspora. Forget all the social media noise An average Nigerian outside this country loves Nigeria. Forget all the courses they reign on social media. I interact with them a lot, and their heart is still back home. They look forward to a day that Nigeria will be greater than what it is right now, so they can return back home. Let me shock you. The remittances still coming from there. The data is out there.
Yeah.
You can check.
They are competing with oil.
Yeah, and that makes it interesting. Most of the people that can afford to buy quality real estate in Nigeria now, there are people in diaspora.
Yeah.
If you check the customer base of most real estate companies still thriving in this economy, I will guarantee you that not less than 60% of those buying from them, they are people in diaspora.
So everything you have said starts and ends with government.
Okay.
Open the door to private sector.
Yes.
Don't close the door.
Don't close it. Ease
Provide
of doing
infrastructure.
business. Yeah,
That's your business.
correct.
Government is not doing it.
Right
Now you want to own and register your house. You go to different.
Tedious.
There are bottlenecks everywhere.
Tedious.
I'm trying to perfect my documentation. I'm talking about ongoing now. And my engineer has gone through hell.
True.
The last time, that was just last week, he said he has to go and bring them with a motor. He doesn't have a motor. He has to use Uber to bring them from Alausa. Use the same Uber to take them back.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that, what do you do? Then they did calculation for me. Millions. After giving me 5%, they said there's a 5% whatever. I looked at it. Said, this kind of money, how much rent am I collecting? That's where I'm really honest. So
Actually,
I
these
don't
things are
know.
not
I
rocket
don't know.
science.
I don't
I
know.
think we just need the willpower to get it done. They are not rocket science.
How much is the take-home pay of the average worker? It's really some. Let's not turn into lamentation.
Yeah,
We don't do that.
so we've heard some solutions. Just before, I think we should just spare 1 more minute because we have people listening, are investors who have problems with many developers in Nigeria. Of course, we all know that the barrier to entry for you being a real estate developer is non-existent actually in Nigeria. Anybody can just carry a graphics designer, do graphics of 3-bedroom for sale, like that. What can you say can be the solution to that, and what can be the solution to developers who are struggling? Should they close down? If it's not, should you? So that because these are some, like we said, we have eliminated the middle class. Many
Long
of these,
ago.
Yeah, many of these people that are going to be buying from you as a developer are probably buying with their last cash. True. So how do we protect those kind of people, and what can developers do? Solutions for them.
Okay, I'll start by telling the developers, the genuine ones.
Yeah.
You don't give up. They say tough time never lasts, but tough people do, because we have huge opportunity in the real estate sector. Whether you like it or not, the population of Nigeria is growing. The average age right now is maybe 18 or 18.5. That tells you a lot about the future of this country. Those 18.5 that forms maybe over 50 or 60 or 70% of the population will get married, they'll give birth to children, so you can see the rate at which our population will grow. And with population growth, it's supposed to come with urbanization. With urbanization comes property development.
Yeah.
So don't give up. You still have opportunities ahead. But for the investors, the challenge has always been greed. Please learn to overcome your greed. If it sounds too good to be true, check it again and again. And they should work with professionals. Don't be in a hurry. Don't be under pressure to buy without talking to a professional. There are surveyors there. They are there to help you pick the coordinate of the land you are buying and be sure that they didn't fly the coordinate. And yes, because they can present survey to you, and it's not the actual place they are selling that they are presenting.
Yeah.
So you work with them. You want to do your design. Don't just give a draftsman. Let an architect check what the draftsman has done to be sure that it complies. So you won't build tomorrow, and they'll come and demolish it. Because you need to settle people for them to allow you to build what has been designed. A qualified architect will be careful not to design what they will demolish tomorrow. And in the course of doing basic due diligence, you will find out they are reputable real estate company. Look at Sam, for example. For many years now, he's been on this helping people grow wealth through real estate. He has track record. There are testimonials everywhere. He might not promise you that crazy return that you are looking for.
I will never do that.
But you will get value for whatever investment you do with him. But when people become greedy, they are not looking at that. December, we're having, there's this real estate expo that is coming up. Those are places you should come to, because any property or manager or developer you see at the expo displaying a product, there are people that have been vetted. So you don't have to go through that stress. And whatever they are presenting to you at the expo, you are sure that this is genuine. You see, like you said, everybody becoming real estate developer right now. It's a major challenge. And that is a story for another day, how we're going to deal with that.
You know, the person said we're looking for a place, and he said, in just 5 minutes from the road. Sam, I was very happy. Got there. If I said the person that will take us is in front, we started going 20 minutes, 30 minutes. She also don't know the place. Now, you know, there's so much deceit in what we're talking about. And you just mentioned something. I have 2 plots of land that I bought many years ago from Wisdom Property. Many years ago. You know, when you pay through your nose. And suddenly we're supposed to build. Because I'm going to a question. We're supposed to build. Wisdom is on the Lagos-Ibadan Express after OPIC, just by Punch. You know, quarters. Yeah. I mean, close to Lagos. There are a few minutes here. And we're ready to build. My wife was like, it's always, make we start something. I said, okay, fine. Fortunately, my friend Toyi, you know, you know, and water just came. I think they said they released Ukupari or something down. Yeah. And even the road, the express was taken. So we said, okay, fine. I spoke with my engineer friends, and he said, don't even go there. That to get that place back is Julius Berger. Then we have a cooperative. I'm talking about the recent one. I went on the platform and I said, my engineer said it will take you millions to do what we are doing here. The corporate said we should contribute in 100,000. My engineers told me. So I said it on the platform. They attacked me. People are contributing the 100. I'm talking about the greed part of it.
Great.
If I've been told that only Julius Berger can make that thing work, and some people are contributing this money, how do you dissuade people like that who will not listen? Because you're saying the topography will also decide what we're doing. But they don't listen.
Now, the challenge is when you are dealing with human, it can be very, very, very tough. Because these are people that have minds of their own, and they want you to say what they like to hear, and not necessarily the truth. The fact is, when we're talking about real estate is not cheap. Of course, there are grounds upon which we can make it affordable or accessible. Not necessarily cheap anywhere in the world. It's not cheap. So the government has its part. But for people like that, they just need to get used to hearing the truth. Now, you buy an estate, and you paid maybe 200,000 as developmental fees, and you are expecting third road, drainages, solar powered, and you know everything, and the estate manager is not providing it, and say you are going to court.
Yes.
In the first place, so these are issues that investors need to come to terms with. That real estate is not cheap. We can make it affordable. We can make it accessible. I prefer to use the word accessible. But it's not cheap. And that's the truth. We must tell it out there.
Thank you so much, Sam.
And that's the reason why we have put out the Real Estate Expo 2024. So we are moving into the opportunities. We are talking about the challenges, the solutions. The opportunity for today and for the rest of the year is the Real Estate Expo 2024. And we have the privilege of having Dr. Sunday's Pertinence Group displaying products at the expo. Like I've told you guys before, we are bringing some of the best developers in the nation. I've been to about how many states now? We're going to cover about 26 states in 4 weeks to go and verify these properties and make sure that they are good to go. So lands, apartments, houses. Under lands, you will see lands that you can buy to build immediately. Lands you can buy and keep for investment purposes. Lands you can buy and rent out to be making rental income for you, cash flow wise. you will see distressed land, you see luxurious land. Under apartments, you will see shops on display. Dotun was here, they are bringing shops. You will see beach houses. You will see apartments that you can co-own, not even fully own. You heard the testimonial during Dr. Lumide's session of a lady who is co-owning an apartment. She has been earning rental income every month since 2022. And many of you are going to fund to go and be negotiating monthly interest. Who will give you that? Nobody's going to give you. Go out and buy an apartment and we'll give you short-let income. You know, all these are available. Houses will be available, terrace, bungalows, detached. So if you want to be a part of the expo, right, just take your phone now. Right, take your phone and send your name and Rexpo to this WhatsApp number 080 5268 2323. There are two kinds of registration. The free one is the premium subscriber. The paid one is 50,000 naira. It gets you these three benefits. Number one, we'll give you extra 50K. So you have 100,000 in your Expo account to shop. Number two, you will get better discounts at the Expo. So where premium subscribers are earning maybe 30% discount on land, you probably be earning 35 or 40%. And number three, we are adding a new mortgage facility for you. You heard mortgage today. Right? We are providing that to a few cooperative members at single-digit interest rates. So all this is going to be available. And the CEO of that finance company will be with us live on the show next week, Wednesday. So you don't want to miss it. So if you want to be a part of this, right, I'm going to be having a Zoom meeting tonight. So just send your name and Rexpo to 080 5268 2323. The number again is 080 5268 2323. Don't miss this opportunity for anything. Pertinence are coming with. Let's give us what should they expect from Pertinence? Just 1 minute.
We have only
Few seconds.
3 minutes to go. Yes.
You can't be assured that when you come at the Pertinence table, you get properties that are verified, not necessarily cheap, like I said, but you can be sure that if you buy, you go to bed and sleep because you are buying a property that has good title and you can take instant possession when you buy and start developing. And if you want to buy houses, we have, if you want to invest for co-ownership, we have hotels, we have short-let apartments. People are already earning from this co-ownership. So you can jump on it and participate with it. And just like you said, we just got a bank, so we are willing to support people with micro housing loans, so you can build in milestones.
I'm going to be at the office tomorrow to ensure that we secure that for you guys. So you know that's my job, to go out looking for opportunities for our members. So guys, follow us on social media, fundrealestate.ng. That's the cooperative. That's the biggest real estate cooperative in Nigeria today. So go to Instagram, go to Facebook, fundrealestate.ng. Our guest today, Dr. Sunday Olorunsheyi, is on all social media. You have to follow him. I mean, they had a successful leverage conference last week. He's on his Instagram, but you go and watch everything. Like, I watched that actually, or you didn't know I was watching online. Olorunsheyi Sunday is the social media on all platforms. And you know Godwin's on. We are back again next week. Friday. And we are coming with his partner. Okay. Awesome. Wisdom Ezekiel. You know, one of the reasons why he's such a funny man. People don't really take him serious because he's funny. But he's very, 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 very brilliant. And some of the things that he's going to be sharing next week, I mean, you probably have not heard it before. So make it a date next week, Friday, 1 p.m., the Investors Corner Radio Edition returns. And you can rewatch this episode on my YouTube channel, Sam Orija on YouTube. It's going to be there. All previous episodes with Dr. Lumide, Dotsun, and Tade Cash are also there. So don't miss it for anything in the world. I'll be back again on Monday, 11, as the Spirit leads. With God. But the Investors Corner returns on Friday. Doctor, any parting words from you?
Yeah, thank you. It's been amazing. I'll go back to YouTube and watch all the previous editions of this show. And I will encourage you, please follow Sam on all platforms and ensure that you keep following, right? Because so much you can benefit from what he's doing. And I appreciate your team too. They're amazing people. Amazing people.
Big thank you to everybody.
Thank you, Godwin.
Thank you very much. I did say when we were about to start that I have a testimony to share after meeting Dr. Sunday. I'll share that testimony. So thank you so very much. I'll tell you guys what it is. I'm preparing his mind for what it is. Sam, thank you for being there.
Thank you, Godwin. Always a pleasure.
Like you said, Monday, they will be back. But, hey, we are going back to talking sports. Definitely.
Okay, I'm Kevin Odile, and we are here at Megbe for survey and close look and evaluation of the sites, and it's quite amazing because this is on a Saturday, just less than 24 hours after the rains. I can see the whole environment is not muddy, it's not waterlogged. It's good and quite commendable for those that want to invest. Like for me that actually purchased some plots here. I'm amazed by the level of development, the topography of the area is also very impressive, and I'm not having any form of regrets that I've made this investment. Also looking at the master plan, where the development is heading to and how fast the land here is appreciating based on the location and the work that is going into it. I'm very happy that I made the decision. This is one opportunity that I would want to encourage you to pursue. The potential for appreciation is quite high. You would not regret it because I know this is just the beginning, and I'm happy I made the investment. Thank you.